It's draft day, football fans, and that means I'm going over my official 2024 NFL mock draft on a special edition of the Locked On Titans podcast.
You are Locked On Titans, your daily Tennessee Titans podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to a special edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. It is draft day, and that means it's time for my official 2024 NFL mock draft. I do one every single year on draft day, so excited to unveil mine for you guys again on this special edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. Before we get into it, thank you for making Locked On Titans your first listen each and every day. Make sure you get subscribed, stay subscribed to the number one Tennessee Titans podcast in the world. This is going to be a books on tape style of episode. I'm going to read my mock draft for you guys, go through pick by pick. Let me know what you guys think about my picks down below. Where did I get it right? Where did I get it wrong? Very excited to see all of the reaction, but we got to dive in here. There's nowhere else to start but with the Chicago Bears. And of course, that is going to be Caleb Williams, quarterback out of USC. No analysis needed. This is the right move and the smart move for the Chicago Bears. With pick number 2, the Washington Commanders select Jaden Daniels, quarterback out of LSU. I would personally take Drake May here. Daniels is safer and more pro-ready, though, but May has way more upside with his arm strength and his all-schedule playmaking. Either way, Daniels is who I think Washington goes with, continuing an all-season of massive mistakes. At number 3, the New England Patriots select Drake May, quarterback out of North Carolina. Look, in the rough draft of this mock, I had Minnesota coming up in a trade for Drake May, but ultimately, I don't think the Patriots will make the huge mistake. May need some development with his footwork and his processing, but I think he could be the best quarterback from this class, and he's my QB2. Minnesota's nightmare offseason continues as their preferred passer goes off the board, and they're unable to make the trade up. At number 4, the Arizona Cardinals select Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver, Ohio State. The Cardinals cannot afford to pass on Harrison here. Look, I get a trade back to collect more capital is always alluring, but at some point you have to cash in on those high picks and get some blue chippers. Grabbing a generational talent in MHJ to pair with Kyler Murray is the right move. And here, folks, we finally have the first trade of today's mock draft. At number 5, the Minnesota Vikings trade up and select J.J. McCarthy, quarterback out of Michigan. The reality here is Minnesota is desperate. I think McCarthy is a massive reach, and Brock Purdy is his ceiling. But Kevin O'Connell would probably love to have a more athletic Brock Purdy. Minnesota gives up number 11 and number 23 to make the move up, and Jim Harbaugh gets his son drafted in the top 5. That's a joke, obviously. At number 6, the New York Giants select Malik Nabers, wide receiver, LSU. Nabers is the most explosive wide receiver in the NFL draft. His ability to turn a short pass into a chunk play is tantalizing, and it will be impossible to pass up for a team like the Giants, who have had the worst wide receiver group in the NFL for multiple years. My gut is telling me that Rome Odunze is their preferred option, but all the whispers this week point to Nabers, who I have ranked higher anyways. The Giants have some solid slot options, but Nabers has the ability to be used all over, okay? There's some question about Nabers' maturity, but almost every great wide receiver has some diva to them. Shouldn't scare the Giants off. And now we get to my Tennessee Titans. And if you have been following my show for any amount of time, if you have been following me on Twitter at TicTacTitans for any amount of time, then you know that I am the leader of the alt cult. So with that being said, No shocks here. With the 7th pick, the Tennessee Titans select Joe Alt, offensive tackle, Notre Dame. As the leader of the Alt cult, this is truly a self-serving move, but at the end of the day, there is no player-team fit in this draft that makes more sense, except for maybe Caleb Williams to the Bears. The Titans have had the worst left tackle play in the NFL for a few seasons running now, and Alt is a plug-and-play solution for a decade. Alt doesn't have the high-end upside maybe of some other top tackles, but he is the safest pick, and the Titans need to play left tackle safe. Also, screw that. Alt is only 21 years old and has plenty of upside, especially playing under Bill Callahan. At pick number 8, we have another trade. The Chicago Bears, the New York Jets trade up and select Rome Odunze, wide receiver out of Washington. Look, the Jets are going all out for this season with Aaron Rodgers. Pairing Odunze and Garrett Wilson gives them a great duo for Rodgers to throw to. The Jets could go offensive line if they stay at 10, but Odunze is an elite prospect, and New York can't pass up the chance. They throw pick 72 at the Falcons to move up 2 spots. At pick number 9, the Chicago Bears select Dallas Turner, edge rusher, Alabama. The Bears went out and traded for Montez Sweat last season, and it made a major impact on their defense. Adding Turner here adds to that pass rush and gives the Bears a tremendous duo. Turner may not be elite in my mind, but his length, speed, and motor make him a worthy pick at this spot. At number 10, after a trade back, the Arizona Cardinals select Tyrion Arnold, the cornerback out of Alabama. Look, you can never have enough corners in today's NFL. Not only that, but Falcons' top corner, A.J. Terrell, is in the last year of his contract. And with so many players needing deals soon and the huge amount the Falcons paid Kirk Cousins, they may choose to replace Terrell with Arnold. Having them together for a season when you're all in would be great too. The Falcons are expected to lose draft picks this year due to tampering charges, and dropping back 2 spots is a way to offset that and get some picks back. That is the top 10 of my NFL mock draft. Again, Caleb Williams at number 1, Jaden Daniels at number 2, Drake May at number 3, Marvin Harrison Jr. at 4, J.J. McCarthy to the Minnesota Vikings at 5, Malik Neighbors at 6, Joe Alt at 7, Rome Odunze to the Jets at number 8, Dallas Turner at 9, and then the Falcons taking Tyrion Arnold, cornerback from Alabama, at number 10. That's my top 10. Where'd I get it right? Where'd I get it wrong? We got to dive into the rest of the draft because I have a Brandon Aiyuk trade coming up. Can't wait to dive into that. Before I do, though, do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. Look, I'm a very competitive person, okay? And my competitive side is a big fan of Monopoly Go. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's been downloaded over 150 million times. It's a great twist on classic Monopoly where you don't just play one Monopoly board, but you play hundreds of Monopoly boards in crazy locations while you build up amazing cities that bring you in big money. The best part is, though, you get to mess with your friends. You could charge them rent on your iconic properties, just like classic Monopoly, but you can also rob their vaults of their riches and keep them all to yourself. And the leaderboards show you who has the biggest Monopoly tycoon, so you can always track your progress. It's not just my competitive side that loves it, though. You can also team up with your friends and people all around the world in time tournaments to earn huge rewards. So get in the game and join your friends. Download Monopoly Go for free right now on the App Store or on Google Play. Football fans, let's continue today's 2024 NFL mock draft, a special edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. I do my mock draft on draft day every single year. So I hope you guys do enjoy. And I keep track of these. I don't know if you guys know about the Huddle Report, but the Huddle Report does a ranking and keeps track of performance in mock drafts every year. You get 1 point if you get a player in the first round. Like if you guessed every single player in the first round right, that would be 32 points. And then you get an additional 3 points. 2 points? 3 points? You get an additional 3 points if you get the team to the player perfectly. So love doing it that way. Love keeping track. I've had some pretty good years here in the past. So I do judge myself. I do pay attention. I'm not just doing it for fun, I guess. Again, that competitive side, like I just told you guys about. But with that being said, let's dive back into the picks. We are at number 11 here with the Los Angeles Chargers, who traded back with the Minnesota Vikings. And they are going to take J.C. Latham, offensive tackle out of Alabama. This is a perfect scenario for the Chargers. They pick up multiple firsts to rebuild their team in Jim Harbaugh's image. And the Chargers have a lot of expensive veterans, so loading up on cheap rookies is important. Latham is a road grading right tackle and will make a fabulous partner for left tackle Rashawn Slater. This is truly a Harbaugh fever dream. At number 12, I have another trade. The Philadelphia Eagles come up to number 12 and take Quinyon Mitchell, cornerback, out of Toledo. Howie Roseman is never going to sit on his hands. The Eagles need a cornerback with both their current ones, Darius Slay and James Bradbury, being over 30. Again, you can never have too many corners. Mitchell has been the biggest winner of the pre-draft process. The MAC product dominated the Senior Bowl and the Combine. Philly sends number 22 and number 50 to Denver to move up. At 13, the Las Vegas Raiders select Tali Fuaga, offensive tackle, Oregon State. This is a match made in heaven for the Raiders. They currently have Thayer Munford as their starter at right tackle, and that simply won't do. Fuaga has a chance to be one of the best right tackles in the NFL soon, and pairing him with Colton Miller solidifies the tackle position for years to come. Some think the Raiders will take Michael Penix Jr. here, but I'm sorry. I'm not buying it. Then at number 14, the New Orleans Saints select Olu Fashanu, which for some reason his picture eludes me. But Olu Fashanu, offensive tackle from Penn State. This could not have worked out better for the Saints. All right, Trevor Penning has been a bust. Ryan Ramczyk is dealing with serious medical concerns. Fashanu is the best pass protector in this draft class, but really needs to work in the run game. The Saints can allow him to come along at his own pace, and he should be starting by midseason at minimum. All right. At number 15, the Indianapolis Colts select Brock Bowers, tight end out of Georgia. The Colts desperately need more weapons, and while they could take a wide receiver like Brian Thomas Jr., Bowers is the better prospect and an immediate contributor. Bowers can patrol the middle of the field and be a safety blanket for Anthony Richardson. With a good offensive line in place and most of their free agents retained, the Colts can take a luxury pick here with a tight end. At 16, the Seattle Seahawks select Troy Fautanu, offensive lineman from Washington. Seahawks general manager John Schneider does not take guards in the first round. So I'll probably feel dumb when I miss on this pick because duh. But Fautanu is more than just a guard. He can kick out to tackle if Abraham Lucas doesn't perform. And the reality is the Seahawks will have one of the worst interiors in the NFL on the O-line. There's even some that think Fautanu could play center. All I know is he's a good offensive lineman and should go about this range. And new offensive coordinator Ryan Grubbs coached Fautanu at Washington. So there's a connection there. At number 17, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver, LSU. I absolutely hate this. I do. But another AFC South member gets a perfect fit. Thomas has elite potential. After losing Calvin Ridley to the Titans, suck it, bulky. The Jags really need a number one wide receiver. Rumor is they're trying to move up to get one of the top 3 receivers, but missing out on those and ending up with Thomas Jr. is still a great outcome. Pairing Thomas with Gabe Davis gives them 2 vertical threats with Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram as the chain movers. Thomas has been flagged by some teams for medical reasons, but I think Jacksonville is willing to take a risk. At number 18, the Cincinnati Bengals select Byron Murphy Jr., interior defensive lineman out of Texas. Some people have been talking about Murphy going in the top 10, and he could even go higher. But he is an undersized lineman, and I think that makes him drop a little bit. The Bengals have a history with undersized defensive linemen, though, and Murphy can give the Bengals flashbacks of Geno Atkins. The Bengals would probably prefer a tackle, but there is no value there right now, in my opinion. Take the best player in the draft at a position of need. At number 19, the Los Angeles Rams select Jared Verse, defensive end from Florida State. The Rams hit big on 2 rookie pass rushers last year in Kobe Turner and Byron Young, but they need more. Verse is a pure power rusher with great speed to power. He may not be an elite athlete, but he is a football player who has been productive at the highest level of college football. At this stage in the game, good value for the Rams. At number 20, we have a blockbuster. The San Francisco 49ers trade wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They flop first-round picks, so San Francisco comes up to 20. There's some additional capital thrown in by the Steelers as well, which I'll talk about later in the draft. But San Francisco comes up to number 20 and drafts maybe the biggest boom and bust prospect in the entire draft, Armarius Mims, offensive tackle out of Georgia. A blockbuster here. The 49ers trade Brandon Aiyuk to the Pittsburgh Steelers. As part of the deal, they swap. Pittsburgh also sends pick 50 for Aiyuk. This allows the 49ers to come up the board and get what might be the most talented offensive lineman in the entire draft in Mims. Mims is a monster at 6'7" with great length, insane mobility for a man his size. The issue is Mims has only played 8 games and has dealt with injuries. But the 49ers have Trent Williams and Colton McKivitz in place as their offensive tackles, so San Francisco can afford to be patient with Armarius Mims. At number 21, oh, well, you know what? We'll hold on 21. We got the next 12 picks in the NFL draft. There's a trade for Michael Penix, some movement. Can't wait to dive into that. Before I do, though, do want to let you guys know that today's emergency and special episode of the Locked On Titans podcast is brought to you by LinkedIn. All right, when you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals that you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job, but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. That's LinkedIn. All right, folks, let's continue my official 2024 NFL mock draft. We've gone through the top 20 picks. We've seen trades. We've seen 4 quarterbacks. We've seen a ton of offensive line as well. And we got Brandon Aiyuk traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So at number 21, the Miami Dolphins select Jerzon Newton, defensive tackle out of Illinois. The Dolphins had a mass exodus this offseason on defense, with the biggest hit being the loss of Christian Wilkins. The hole left on the interior defensive line has not been filled by any move this offseason, and that is why Newton is a perfect fit. Newton had surgery on a Jones fracture after his college season ended, but should be good to go for the season. Plus, Miami has shown that they are willing to take risks on medical issues. At number 22, after trading down with the Philadelphia Eagles, the Denver Broncos select Laiatu Latu, edge rusher, UCLA. I considered giving the Broncos Bo Nix here, but after the trade for Zach Wilson, I think it's obvious the Broncos don't want to burn a high pick at quarterback. I think this is the right move. Latu has medical concerns and took 2 seasons off in college with a neck issue, but if the Broncos clear the medicals, Latu could be the best edge rusher of the top 3 in this first round. Latu has incredible hand usage and has a polished arsenal of pass rush moves. Denver has nothing on the edge currently outside of Baron Browning, so hitting a major need and getting some draft capital back when they didn't have any is huge. At number 23, the Los Angeles Chargers, who again traded down with Minnesota from 5 to get 11 and 23, the Los Angeles Chargers select Adonai Mitchell, wide receiver out of Texas. The Chargers passed on the chance to grab a receiver earlier, but after hitting offensive tackle, it is now time to address their biggest need. The Chargers cut Mike Williams to save money and traded Keenan Allen. Mitchell immediately becomes their top target. Mitchell has warts. He reportedly has diabetes and needs to manage it better. He isn't a big yard after catch threat and has been known to loaf if he's not getting the ball. But Iron Fist Harbaugh will get the best out of him, and that version of Mitchell could be the best receiver in this class with his size and athleticism. At number 24, the Dallas Cowboys select Graham Barton, offensive lineman out of Duke. Look, the Cowboys are one of the biggest losers of the offseason. After Jerry Jones proclaimed that they would be all in, they have done the exact opposite. Picking Barton is a great way to do something, though. The Cowboys have a huge hole at left guard and center. Barton can play both of them and even kick out to tackle like he played in college if needed. Really, really good pick here for Dallas. At 25, the Green Bay Packers select Cooper DeJean, defensive back out of Iowa. The Packers need help in the defensive backfield, and DeJean may have gone 10 picks higher if not for a fractured fibula. But the Packers will gladly take him here. DeJean can fill the second safety spot for Green Bay after they signed to Xavier McKinney in free agency. But he can also use his versatility to play as a cornerback or a slot option. I think the Packers would be elated to walk away with DeJean. At number 26, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Chop Robinson, edge rusher out of Penn State. The Bucs had to release Shaq Barrett for cap reasons, and that leaves a huge hole on the edge. Robinson is a bit of a project. He has great length and athleticism, but is very thin for an edge. He'll likely need some time to put on some weight and mass. Robinson could come in on third downs and be a designated pass rusher in the meantime. At 27, the Arizona Cardinals select Darius Robinson, edge rusher, defensive lineman out of Missouri. The Cardinals desperately need pass rush help, and while Robinson is a bit of a tweener, GM Monty Austinfort saw exactly what that kind of player can do while being in the front office for the Tennessee Titans and watching a similar player in Danico Autry dominate. Robinson has great power and crazy motor, but doesn't have the speed to play on the edge full time. He can be used as a chess piece, though. At number 28, the Buffalo Bills select Xavier Worthy, wide receiver out of Texas. It's no secret the Bills need a wide receiver after losing Gabe Davis in free agency, trading away Stephon Diggs. Worthy broke the combine record with a 4.21 40-yard dash, but also has very good yards after catch ability. Diggs lost a step last year and was no longer the deep threat the Bills needed with Josh Allen's big-time arm. Worthy can be their new Diggs. Number 29, we have a trade. The Detroit Lions trade out and let the Las Vegas Raiders trade back up for Michael Penix Jr., quarterback out of Washington. The Raiders make their move to get their man. All we have heard during the pre-draft process is how much the Raiders love Penix. I am not a believer in Penix, but the Raiders cannot go into next season with Aiden O'Connell as the starter. Detroit needs a corner, and they can use their current picks with the number 44 they get from the Raiders to jump back up in the second. At number 30, the Baltimore Ravens select Tyler Guyton, offensive tackle out of Oklahoma. The Ravens traded Morgan Moses to the Jets this offseason, leaving a huge hole on the right side of their offensive line. Guyton has the tools, but needs development after playing in a Mickey Mouse offense at Oklahoma. But the Ravens may not need him right away if Daniel Falele can hold down the fort for a while. The Ravens get the best out of the players left, and that could be true. The Ravens get the best out of their players, and that could be true with Guyton as well. At number 31, the Pittsburgh Steelers, who traded down earlier to get Brandon Aiyuk, get Jordan Morgan, offensive lineman, Arizona. The Steelers are cooking. After getting Aiyuk in a trade earlier, the Steelers hit a huge need on the offensive line. Morgan may be a guard. He may be a tackle. But what I do know is he is perfect in a zone-based running scheme, and that is what new offensive coordinator Arthur Smith will be bringing with him. Morgan can play left tackle over Dan Moore if needed, but can plug in at guard immediately and make an impact. Finally, at pick 32, the Kansas City Chiefs select Patrick Paul, offensive tackle, Houston. This is a bit of a reach, in my opinion. But who am I to question Brett Veach and company? The Chiefs have Jawan Taylor on the right side, but have yet to address their left tackle spot after Donovan Smith was a one-year Band-Aid in 2023. The Chiefs can bring Smith back, which gives Paul time to develop more, but if they roll with Paul right away, they will get a very productive pass blocker. This is about the future, though. All right, guys, that is my 2024 NFL mock draft. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't like, what I got wrong, what I got right. Can't wait for the draft to come to us here on Thursday night. Hope you guys enjoyed this special edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. Get subscribed, stay subscribed. It's your team every day. And of course, I'm going to have a ton of draft coverage for you guys based on what happens over the weekend here on the channel. So thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed it. That's going to do it for this special edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. As always, I'm your host, Tyler Rowland, and this was Locked On Titans.